Before we get started, I'm here to tell you about B-Res Coffee Co. Made for gamers, by gamers, right here in Florida. You like medium or light roast? Try our Necro Medium or Holy Grail Light. Looking for something dark? We have Critical Dark and my personal favorite, Stamina Boost. And I haven't even mentioned all the flavors. If you like freshly roasted coffee, then we are your guys. Come check us out at www.brescoffeeco.com. So we have a special treat. I don't know if I told you, but we're working on music right now, which doesn't exist yet. But for
Hmm.
this episode, our intro music's gonna be the first few seconds, first 30 seconds of the actual John Williams
Oh,
title credits.
nice.
So I don't think me and you are gonna have marital banter. So we'll go ahead and play the music and get started.
All right, let's do it.
I don't know if you'll hear this, but
Now hear it on your channel.
all right. Hello everyone. And we are at episode 3 of the Jester's Court. And first things first, you'll notice that is not Mom Thulu in the other panel. That is the amazing KingKongRong, who is going to talk to us tonight about Superman Returns.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, for those who don't know me, I'm KingKongRong, variety streamer here on Twitch, and I raise money primarily for Extra Life, along with many of my friends, and Jester and I have mutual friends here. So yeah, glad to be here and talk about Superman.
Oh yes, Superman. And dude, I was looking up to prepare for this and hate all over about this movie, but no one could give you a specific problem. They're just like, I hate it for reasons. It's one. There was an entire group of pages, I swear to God, dedicated to Superman doesn't punch anybody in this movie, and I don't like that.
Oh yeah, I read that too, and I was like,
Really?
he hasn't. He has so many other powers. Like,
Does he have to actually physically punch someone for him to be Superman?
I mean,
Uh,
I get it. That's like a trademark move, right? Like where he just dashes in with his super. It's called Superman Punch for a reason, right? But he's got his like heat vision, ice, flight, super strength. Like there are so many ways to express his super strength.
right,
Like
right.
when he was like, actually, it's funny. He doesn't have there are not a lot of like fight scenes in the movie, but there are a lot of scenes where he's lifting things that are getting progressively heavier throughout the movie. Was it
Yes.
the plane, the ship, and then the continent?
Yeah, the whole continent. The kryptonite continent at that.
Yeah. And that scene where he just took, and I think you mentioned this in your message to me earlier, where he takes like the bullet to the face and
I
it just bounces off
love
his eye.
I love that scene, and part of what I was going to talk about tonight later on is the graphics and
Mm-hmm.
to see the visual representation of just how invulnerable Superman is. That has never
Right.
been done better than that bullet collapsing on his eyeball. That oh my god, that's such an amazing scene. I could watch it over and over again.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's like there are so many other ways that Superman uh, can be depicted as a superhero. Rather than just getting into a fight with a bunch of thugs or other
And
supervillains.
if you follow the comics, if you're a fan of comics like I am, they learn that lesson over and over again. The Superman comics kind of get to where he gets more muscly, more muscly, and more active, and more active, and it
Mm-hmm.
just gets boring because if that's your only story, there's not a lot to Superman. You've got to pan
Right.
back and do other things. So, and I think that's what kind of killed it for a lot of people. This is that it's more of a story. It's more a cerebral story. It's more about emotion.
Yeah, I think a
and
lot of people came in thinking it was like an action movie. Um,
and it really wasn't. It had some action scenes, but that's not what this movie
right,
was about.
right. It's more about developing a character we hadn't seen in 20 years on film.
And
You
I
know,
love that concept. I'm sorry, I
right?
love that Superman coming back after being gone to a world that's like moved on, so he gets to be an alien all over again. Like I love that.
Yeah, and Lex Luthor, like he really harps on that in a couple lines. You know, really trying to isolate him, alienate him, if you will. Um, trying to speak at his like moral core.
Right.
You know.
And I
So yeah,
like.
go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and I like personal issues with him aside. He ends up being kind of a scumbag, Kevin Spacey. But Kevin Spacey's portrayal of Lex Luthor, oh, so good.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Knowing who he is now, after watching it again, that made his villain role that much more impactful. Because I'm like,
Uh,
wow, I don't think that guy was really acting. I think he really was a kind of scummy.
yeah, not as much as you would like to have believed when you first saw it.
Right.
I think
Uh,
he did. He kept the humor in it that you saw in the original movies, but he brought a level of crazy that they just didn't get.
yeah, and I did read some criticism comparing him to Gene Hackman in his original role as Lex Luthor. Um, Rather than reinterpreting the role, he was kind of just a more over the top Gene Hackman, which I don't really think is a fair comparison because that was so long ago.
Well,
Um,
also, this is supposed to be in the same thread in the same universe,
mhm,
so to
right.
some extent, he does need to. There needs to be some connection. I mean, Brandon Roth as Clark Kent, spot on, and I count that as a plus because you watch him as Clark Kent and you're like, is that Christopher Reeves?
Yeah, right. He does bear a strong resemblance, but I think this was like one of his first movies coming out. Brandon
Oh
Roth,
yeah, he
like
was he
in his
was the
career.
nobody at this point.
Yeah, and that probably hurt him a little because nobody knew who he was. But like seeing his work now, like I love watching him in Legends of Tomorrow, um, and actually has a hilarious role in Scott Pilgrim.
Yes,
Um,
yes. I'm glad he
that's
got another shake at the superhero area because I like him a lot.
right, and I think he was very lucky because given the criticism of the movie, that could have like knocked out his career. But yeah, he got and he got a real second chance on the Flash when they had like the crossover and he
Yes,
became Superman again. I was like,
yes.
oh, there
I
you
love
go.
that because I'm a huge fan of Smallville, and they had the Tom Welling was there.
Mhm.
It was such a great. I'm clearly my shirt. I am a Superman fan, and
Yeah,
um,
they really. I mean, the producers at Legend of Tomorrow, like, they really know their fan base because when he came out as Superman, I was like, there he is.
and you want to compare it. Speaking of comparing it to newer things, like the new Snyder movies, I know
Hmm.
everyone loves it. I do not. They're dark and not just in story. Like the colors are muted. That like
Right.
it's gray. It's not Superman. You watch this one and you see like the vibrant colors and you see that is Superman. I love Harry Cavill. I hate the new Superman movies. Hate because it's too dark. It's just too dark. Um,
Yeah, they think they want it to be. I think they're taking a cue from Batman. They want it to be like really gritty and
I think it's
uh,
exactly. I think they went, hey, Batman made a lot of money. Let's make a movie just like that, but with Superman.
right. But like Gotham and um, I mean, I mean, the environments are so different. The characters are very different. Like I didn't see the point in filming movies in the style of one character when there's so many other characters in there. Yeah,
Yeah, and DC, they like to do that.
yeah,
Even like we talk about the Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow in that universe. And I know there are dark arrows in the comics, but I always
hmm
like the jokey arrow better. But you wouldn't see the jokey arrow anymore, you because it's got to be Batman, but with a bow and arrow, and that's what what CW gave us, Batman with a bow
Right.
and arrow.
You failed this city.
But I like the jokey arrow. Like I'm gonna go back to Smallville, like the one like he was in Smallville. I like
Right.
that arrow, and
Yeah.
it's in the comics like that too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's. I do like the lightheartedness. Don't get me wrong. Um, I mean, some of the characters, like Batman, they work in like a dark setting, but others, like the Oliver Queen character, because there's so many storyline similarities, you kind of have to make them different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's again like with the colors and everything. Bringing it, Superman is at its core like just a symbol of hope, and I think this
Mhm.
movie did it very well, and I don't think the following movies have like, and kind of because they leaned into you see now more recent stuff downplays the Jesus is an allegory for Jesus. Superman's an allegory for Jesus.
Right.
This movie does not lean away from it. They're like, okay, we're gonna embrace it. You can't get away from it.
Oh, like
I
when he got his power back by going into the sun with his arms. Not going into the sun, going into the sky and getting his
Yeah, yeah,
recharging his batteries. Yeah.
and the line, one of my favorite
Yeah.
lines from the movie when he's flying around with Lois, and he's talking to her about the article she wrote, and he's like, you wrote that people don't need a hero, and every day I hear people crying out for one,
Right.
and
Yeah. That's heavy under religion there.
it is, but it's in the core of the backstory, and you can't get away from it. I'm not a religious guy at all, but you can't get
Hmm.
away from that. I mean, the basic backstory of Superman is man sends his son to Earth where he'll have special powers and be a symbol of hope. I mean,
True. There.
at
You
its
can't get away from the
core, you
allegory
can't you
there.
can't get away from it.
Right. Right on. Uh, um. So turning that on its head, when you have Superman without his powers, when when he first lands on that Kryptonite island, and Lex Luthor sees the sweat coming down his head, and they were like, he immediately knows, okay, I
Yeah,
can
that was
get
his
this guy.
cue. That was his cue.
Yeah,
As soon as he saw that,
yeah,
that was, and that scene is brutal, man. That
yeah,
scene is brutal. When you have what's her name, the actress, you can see her turning because she's watching them just beat the mess out of them, and you feel so bad. It's oh my god, that gets you in the if that gets you in the gut.
yeah. That was probably we're talking about like action sequences in film with Superman. That was probably the most probably the most violent one there, which is funny because I think Man of Steel overcompensated. Maybe that was a too brutal of a movie
Uh,
action wise.
you mean where Superman snaps some dude's neck after like 2
Yep,
days?
yep.
Yeah, I've exhausted all my options in a day and a half. So
You want action? Here you go. But
ah,
the whole I like the way they develop the character, and I think presenting Superman in this fashion um, rounds out the character a bit better than I think it has in the past. And again, like there 2 decades have passed since we've last seen a Superman movie, right? So I think this would have been a good platform for um, for a sequel in that vein, rather than going to Man of Steel.
yeah, and I get it, and I don't get it because it's not that this movie flopped. When you
No, it
when
made
you
like
read
four
about
hundred
it, it
million
made
dollars.
its money back. It didn't hit a threshold that they wanted,
Yeah,
and I feel like that's why it got rebooted again. But it made money.
yeah, no, yeah. It was the studio wanted it to make $500 million, and it made 400. It cost like 200 to make. So I'm like, you doubled your money. What?
Yeah. So you're gonna lean on all this? He sucked. No more Brandon Ruff Superman. DC, you're gone.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that studio.
Well, you know, they're starting to get a little better now, but I mean, DC movies in general have, with the exception of the Christian Bale Batmans, have not done well for a long time.
Yeah,
And you're seeing them do well now, obviously. And
right.
they're kind of finding their footing. With Snyder, with the non-Superman properties, has done great stuff.
Yeah. You remember Bryan Singer? He directed those original X-Men movies too.
The first two, and then he
Yeah.
skipped the third one to do this movie, and then the third one was the worst out of the three X-Men movies.
I'm glad someone said that. Yeah, I was not a fan.
So
Hey,
yeah, because Singer he took him, and apparently he took Cyclops with him, because Lois's
oh,
boyfriend is Cyclops
James
from the X-Men
Marston.
movies.
That's right.
So he took
That was a solid cast looking back at it. Superman Returns. Brandon
yeah.
Routh, Kate Bosworth, Kevin Spacey,
I
James Morrison, Frank Langella,
and
Parker Posey.
and they had all these throwbacks to the original movies and series and stuff. The old woman that Lex bilks out of her money, that was the original Lois Lane from the movies.
That's right.
The bartender when he first gets back to Metropolis, that was Jimmy from the original movies. I mean, they brought like everyone who's still around and kicking. I think they stuck in there at some point.
I never even noticed that. That's great Easter eggs.
Yeah, yeah. I like Parker Posey, but I did not like her character in this.
Oh yeah.
You were listening to all the people in the movie. I was like, Parker Posey, okay.
No, she's had better days.
They didn't do a good job on that character.
No, she was just a standard,
Woman in distress.
yeah.
Now we have a hello, Kyra. I'm not going to say your name correctly, Kreg87, but hello. We have a message in chat.
What's up, Carrig?
That's a good segue into the bad.
Mm-hmm.
The complaints about Superman being a little stalkery. Fair. It's fair. He uses he uses his X-ray vision a little too liberally, looking through couples in their houses, and
well, he's a little lonelier now.
and then God bless him, because they kept the line "I'm always around." I'm like, if you're gonna have Superman be stalkery, please don't have him say 3 times "I'm always around." It's not helping. It's not.
No. That's a little shady right there.
I mean, I get it, especially at the end when he figures out the kid. Oh, spoiler alert from 20 years ago. The little boy is Superman's son.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I get it at that juncture, but still, it's a little.
what did you think of the actress who played Lois Lane?
I like her a lot, and there was a lot of complaint about her, but because she was too young, or she was too damsel in distress for Lois. I didn't get that vibe at all. I liked the way she portrayed the character, and I didn't think the character was too danzely. I think she stood up just fine.
Well, I'll agree that she wasn't too damsely, but she didn't really stand out to me, and I think that's. I kind of expected a little more classic Lois Lane being like this independent career woman instead of like. I don't know. I think Kate Bosworth. I don't think she phoned it in, but I don't think that she really stands out as a great Lois Lane.
Now, if you want to compare her to the other ones, I'm going to be fair, and that's probably right. And I don't think she phoned it in so much as maybe she didn't connect with that character.
Okay, that's a better way of putting it. Yes, and I think it's hard to do when it's like. I mean, I don't want to say age is a factor, but I think she's still, like Brandon Routh, still relatively new to the industry.
Oh, at the time they were in their early 20s too. I mean,
yeah,
I'm 41 now. I look at that like they were babies.
Plus acting with like Kevin Spacey.
Even before you knew about his little.
Right. I think I would have been a little intimidated too.
That scene where he's like, "Let me hear it," and she starts to say Superman will wrong. Like, oh god. I can imagine filming that one and be like, sorry.
I know.
And to be fair, there are so many great Lois Lane portrayals. I mean, throughout the years, it's hard to it's gonna be hard to stand up to that, especially if you're like us and you love the girl from the '80s and the Smallville Lois, and even Lois and Clark. I liked her. Terry Hatcher.
I was just going to mention that Terry Hatcher was one of my. She's a family favorite in my household. Like my dad loved her. But
Oh,
yeah, other thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say to direct it towards a better performance, that she had very little lines, but Martha Kent in this movie,
Hmm.
at the end, I I don't know if you have kids or not, KKR, but dude, as a parent, her watching her outside the hospital, like not able to get in to see her son, and the
Mm,
way they did the music and the oh my god, that was like the feels, man. I mean,
yeah,
tear to the eye, like oh my god, let her in.
I get that. I totally do. No, I got two kids, 5 and 2.
Ooh, youngins.
Yeah. Uh, I did appreciate though the hospital scene when he came back to the ground and they were rushing him into surgery and like their needles and scalpels broke.
They tried to defibrillate him, and the electricity got shot back
Yeah,
through.
and then set the
So he's
machine on fire, and the hospital started like going out
yeah.
of power.
So yeah, I love that too because he's in the hospital and basically all they can do is pull the kryptonite out and open the shades. They're like,
It's
we've
like, all
done
right,
what we could do.
20 years in medical school, and all this is all I needed to do was get tweezers and
And be
right,
famous because you know that doctor, the next day on the talk shows like I saved Superman, I did
right. And
that.
he's like,
Oh, that dude's writing a book.
I was there.
When do I get to see Geraldo?
Right on. But yeah, that was I also liked cinematography. I know we wanted to go talk a little bit about the bad, but I wanted to just shout out the cinematography in that movie. Um, like when the kryptonite hits the water and things are just like that pressure is rushing into the city, and it's like that rushing shot going in there, and then there's just so many great scenes.
The
The
te-
uh, the
the
plane one, I think
oh
that's still
god,
epic.
that is one
Yeah,
thing, when I was looking at people's gripes and stuff, that universally, even the people who hated the movie, that plane scene,
yeah.
that plane scene, and it was great. And you're right, the cinematography, like it's a beautifully shot movie. The graphics for the time, because this is early 2000s, so the
Hmm.
graphics for the time are amazing. I mean, it's not that far away from when they did Jurassic Park, and you can see green screens. So what they
Right,
did with this movie was amazing. It's probably one of the first viable superhero movies with good like graphics like this that kind of opened up the world for hey, we can do some of these more complicated superheroes and do them
right.
pretty well.
Yeah, that plane scene. I keep coming back to that. Whenever whenever I go on YouTube and look for clips, and I think I've seen that clip maybe like a dozen times.
It's such a good scene.
Yeah.
It
Plus at
has
the
every
end
huh?
where he's just plus at the end where he's like he brings it down on the baseball stadium. Was it baseball stadium? I think it
Yes, it
was.
was baseball.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute, what do you do afterwards? They just leave it
That's other people problems.
there.
If you've ever watched The Incredibles, when they talk about the dealing with the aftermath of superheroes, that's totally. There's people who'll take care of that.
Right.
No,
Yep.
that scene is great, and it's got everything you want from a Superman scene. It's got the dramatic running off and changing, and it's everything. It's got my
Yep.
heart.
Yeah, and I understand some people don't want formula, but there's a reason why the formula works. And you're right. That is every cut of that scene is every frame of that scene is like that's a Superman scene right there. So that's probably why it has such lasting appeal.
Yeah, you're reminding me that I brewed coffee and it's sitting in my kitchen. I'm like, God, I didn't grab it. And every
Oh
time I
yeah,
take a sip, I'm like, I want my coffee.
no. I haven't adjusted fully to the jet lag yet, and then daylight savings hit. Um,
At least it
yeah,
was the good daylight savings.
right. uh, so yeah, I've been drinking coffee at night just so I can get back to my normal sleep schedule.
Have you been back for a little while though? Haven't you?
uh,
Or about a week?
about a week. Yeah. So it's a 6 hour time difference.
Yeah, I had a family who used to live out in Hawaii. It's
Oh.
Air Force brought him out there.
Yeah. You remember where they were stationed?
I do not. I
because
was
I
actually
went.
surprised the Air Force had much of a presence out there. I always think of Hawaii more as a Navy town.
Yeah, there's a couple airfields out there. Actually, the my sister's wedding was at one of the Air Force bases there. So it was Bellows Air Force Base, which is on the I think east side of the island. Whatever, there were like lots of waves. So
I'll have to ask him where they were.
yeah.
But yeah, we're kind of coming to the conclusion of like my prepared remarks.
Hmm.
But ultimately, eh, jokingly, spoiler alert: if it's on this show, then I like it. So the court is gonna say thumbs up. But yeah, I like this movie, and the people who don't, I don't get you. I don't really understand you at all.
You know, again, I think it's underrated, or seriously underappreciated. Um, I think knowing, uh, I think people have to take it into context too. Again, it's been so long. I think people forget that there was no Superman since the early '90s. Oh no, it's the '80s, really, right?
If you're talking about movies since the
Yeah,
'80s,
yeah,
the
in
Lois and
movies.
Clark was the TV show in the '90s. But yeah,
Right, right.
but yeah, and even further back, if you take into effect what they considered canon in this movie, which was they forgot about the last two movies that
Hmm.
kind of killed the series for 30 years and just said Superman 1 and 2, that's all that happened.
Well, so
So
that's what I'm saying. It's like,
it's been
um,
30, 40 years that they brought this franchise back.
right. There's a whole generation of people who watched this movie not knowing what happened. You know, why did he leave? Right. So yeah, not everybody knows that. You know, he had to kick General Zod and his troops out.
Yep.
And, you know, went back and tried to find Krypton and come back. Um,
Can I say I love that, and this is not about this one, but about Zod from the original movies. I love that they casted the guy who played Zod, and I'm gonna blank on his name. Terrence Stamp. They cast him in
oh, yeah,
Smallville
yeah, yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
Jor-El. So they took him from bad guy to Superman's daddy.
Well, that's one thing I love about the comic book universe is in terms of the TV shows, like they love doing that, where they'll bring back actors who played a role in the same universe, bring them in and have them do something in the current in the current show. Like the Flash, when they brought in Barry's dad, and he was the
John
Flash.
Ship, and he
Yeah,
played the Flash like in the late '80s, early '90s. I was a kid when that TV
yeah,
show was on. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
I was
God,
like, oh my gosh.
you want to talk about bad effects? Flash done as a TV show in the late '80s. Oh no. I mean, it's not as bad as I remember once seeing a Spider-Man something from like the '70s, where it was literally ropes, like braided rope that he was swinging on. This is my web.
Yeah, we've come a long way in terms of effects since
Oh
then.
God, golden age as far as our lifetimes.
For real.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I think uh, as we find more films and shows to talk about, I'd love to come back on. This was really fun.
Hey, if what I've told everyone is, if you have something that speaks to you, just come to me and we'll look at it for sure. I mean, I'm playing an old game from 20 years ago for Travis for Old Man RPG.
What game are
So
you playing?
Kingdoms of Amalur from the early 2000s. It was a 360
Oh,
game.
yes.
Yeah, that's
No,
what he
wait,
wants to do for his birthday.
that was Kurt Schilling's game, wasn't it?
Hmm.
I remember that.
That's what he wants to talk about. So I was like, okay, bet I gotta go play the game again because I haven't played it since the 360. And
All right, all right. That sounds awesome.
housekeeping stuff though. Obviously, this is KingKongRong. You should check him out, and we're gonna do a little shout out on the stream here for him. Not that it'll show up on the Patreon, but still, KingKongRong, you're not even in the chat.
I am.
Why doesn't it see you?
I don't know. Sometimes you might have to. I might have to like actually chat, even though I'm lurking.
There you are. There's our
Oh,
man, our
that's why.
co-star.
Because I'm 25, not 27.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was gonna say it worked, but it didn't. It was go check out unknown Twitch channel.
Let's go this guy. Who is this guy? King. Oh, it doesn't exist. I mean, if it
Okay.
was an actual person, I would have followed him just for the hell of it.
Look,
It's like,
now it
hey, we
wants
have
me.
similar sounding names.
Okay. Our actual co-host here. Um, and guys, you know, it'll hit Patreon. This episode will hit Patreon tonight or in the morning, and then you got to wait a week if you want it for free on the YouTube. I just lost my whole train of thought. Man, again, thanks for coming out, and yeah, we'll definitely do another one of these for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me again. Hey, everybody on YouTube and Patreon.
Have a good night, everybody.
Take care.